Hi everyone, this is Teresa with Owl's Nest Quilters and welcome to FYI. Today I'm going to explain a little bit about a very handy tool called a SeamFix seam ripper. I know none of you make mistakes with your sewing, and there's really no need for me to demonstrate this, but I'm going to show you anyway, just in case. So the original version of the SeamFix seam ripper has actually two sizes of seam ripper. On one side you get a fine ripper, and then on the other side you get a heavier one for larger seams, bigger, like basting stitches and stuff, whatever you have a need to rip. So when you use this little guy, you'll notice these rubber tips. These rubber tips are very useful. I'm going to show you how these work. Not a lot of people really know what these are for. So when you make a seam and you've made the seam in something that is not going to work for you, it needs to come out for some reason, the SeamFix has two little indicators. There's a large arrow pointing to one side and a small arrow pointing to the other. This indicates which side is your large ripper and which side is your small. So if you want to use the small side, you're going to pop the side off that has the small arrow pointing. So this is my small ripper. So what I'm going to do here is I'm just going to go along and pop like every 2 stitches. So if you have actually had a need to rip seams in the past, you'll know that sometimes when you do this, it takes you forever to pick out all the excess little stitches that are in there. So when I rip a seam, what I like to do is just run through here real quick and pop maybe every third seam. I skip 2 and then I pick one. So underneath this stitch, I can actually grab the bobbin thread and I can pull it and it'll come out. You know, all those other stitches, this part will come out, and I've only broken the top. But then without these, you'd have to go in there and pull out all these little pieces. That's what this rubber tip is for. When you rub this across the seam, look how it literally just pulls out and erases all those little seams that are sticking into the fabric. So no more of that tedious little picking of all the stitches out of the seam. You now have a nice clean seam or a fabric that you can go back and put the correct seam into. So this is the SeamFix seam ripper with stitch erase ends. These are called stitch erase ends. So we have these in the full size. So these are the full size SeamFix seam rippers. But also if you have a travel box that you take to classes, you can actually buy these cute little mini SeamFix rulers. Sorry, not rulers. I was going along.
Will you move them closer?
Oh, yeah.
They're out of the frame.
Oh, I'm sorry.
No,
okay.
You're fine. Those were good, just the small ones.
The small ones, okay. So if you have a travel box that you take with you to class and you don't like to repack it with stuff, you can also purchase these really cute little mini SeamFix seam rippers. They just have the one seam ripper on one side and then the stitch eraser on the other. These are very handy to keep in your travel case so that when you're coming to classes, you have these handy and with you at all times. So if you have questions about these or you just want to stop by and try one out, please stop by Owl's Nest Quilters and we'll be very happy to help you. Thank you.
Owl's Nest Quilters, because you love to create. Yeah.